Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to game number 2. This is your GEST Dota 2 challenge, and although the draft is underway, we start this one, as always, by taking a look at the ever-important brackets. Our earlier match today was LGD International versus Orange. The match times were switched due to a scheduling snafu, I suppose you could call it. LGD International took a very convincing 2-0 victory over Orange. Mushi was not present for those matches. Felt like Orange wasn't really playing their best Dota, but LGD International was looking very strong. This series, however, the winner of this, MUFC versus LGD China, will be moving on to face LGD International in the winner's bracket finals. The winner of that is one more series away from claiming the $1,500 in total prizes. And yes, all of that money goes to first place. We're in game number 2, of course, as I mentioned earlier. And so we're in a position right now where it's MUFC leading to 1-0. I say it. I don't mean to scoff or anything. That's not the way it's just I'm a little surprised, frankly. MUFC has looked very strong. I'm not shocked by any means that they took the game 1 over LGD China, but after watching G1, it shows you really how competitive Asian Dota is, and it's also a testament to how hardworking MUFC is. They are a team that practices, I think, more than almost any other team, certainly any other team outside of China. Orange has really the big superstars in Southeast Asia with Mushi, Yamate, Ice. You get the picture. Even Extinct is a bit of a budding star as far as his jungle play goes. But MUFC have been the harder working team. They've also had the more stable roster. Mushi was sick today. KYXY is occasionally playing. Winter was playing for Orange back at TI2. They've had so many roster switcheroos. MUFC has had the one big one after the international, and then since then they got rid of TFG, they got rid of Nick, and then or Silver Cross, and they've pretty much stabilized since then. We are seeing a slightly different roster today, though. We are seeing X Freedom play. Ken, who was on the team, he came in as one of the 2 replacements along with Ohio. At least is not playing with them for this event. I don't know if they've made any official announcements, if he's just taking a day off, but we'll sort of see what develops there. I do know that Freedom is standing in today, and he played an offlane Undying, which really didn't have a good time in game number 1, and it didn't matter. In spite of that, still was able to be pretty effective in the end of the game. It was the Ohio show. For me, it was all about Ohio, and it was all about Lane. These two... was it Lane who played? No, sorry, Net, who was playing the Nyx Assassin last game, was getting them mixed up. The 2 support players. They are individuals, I swear. But he played really well as that Nyx Assassin. And of course, Ohio has been very impressive. MUFC, as we look towards this game number 2 with LGD on the brink of being thrust down into the lower bracket, not out of the event, just if you get knocked down to the lower bracket, you got to fight. It's a bit of a longer path towards the grand finals. And even if you make it to the grand finals, you come in with a 1-game disadvantage. So you really don't want to end up in that position. You would much prefer to kind of comfortably waltz your way in. But as far as the draft goes, MUFC take a page, well, dare I say it, out of LGD International's book? I mean, I'm not sure if it's fair to call it their book, but they pick up a Luna, and they do it with the first pick of this draft. Just such a... Well, their first pick, not the first pick of the draft, but nonetheless, a very early Luna pick. Then they followed up with Jakiro and Chen. This just screams push. I mean, we saw it from LGD International, and it was an interesting kind of, tweak. For the first team to really use Luna in Dota 2 was IG. That was Invictus Gaming at the International 2. It was Zhou playing the Luna, and his build was very standard. He'd always max Lucent Beam by 7. He'd get the ult at level 6. He'd take 2 points in the R, and then he'd take 2 points in Glaives. This is probably the optimal build if you just want to split push and farm and play more of a long game. But what we saw of LGD International when Paikai was playing the Luna was very different. Sure, it sounds small, but he skipped Glaives entirely. He maxed the aura first. Maxing the aura is better if you're 5-manning with your team. Not as good if you're just split pushing or, grouping up as 1 or 2, maybe 3 at most. If you're 5-manning, maxing the aura makes your team a devastating pushing force. Of course, it's, you still push pretty well on your own with the bouncing Glaives, but it's not. So it's just this little adjustment, and it screams that they want a 5-man, they want to push early and often. We saw that in the skill build, we saw that in the hero selections. Just the way that they would group up as well. MUFC, are they going to do the same thing? They've started off with a very similar draft to what LGD International had earlier today. They've got the Chen, they've got the Luna, they've got Jakiro, and I mean, all of these heroes push really well. What does LGD do to counter this? Well, They have a couple of heroes that are annoying against to sort of counter pushes. I wouldn't say that they have a true counter to the push, though. They've got Spike Carapace, they've got Necrolight's heals. The problem is Necrolyte doesn't want to run next to Chen creeps. He doesn't want to run next to, well, really even near Jakiro or Luna, because if you get hit by a Lucent Beam and Ice Path, you're just so easily kited and burst down. Necrolyte can be very tanky in the mid game, in the late game, but has to get there. And that's a hero. It's a hero that really doesn't hit his stride until that 20 to 30 minute mark. Whereas Luna, despite arguably being the harder carry, or at least a similarly strong carry in the late game, she's a little bit more fearsome in the mid game. Just can do damage from afar. Lucent Beams of a much longer range. Helps your team push a lot more. Doesn't need quite as many items to start having impact. You can get those cheap, cost-effective items. Things like the Tranquil Boots, the Drums of Endurance, the Rin of Aquila. Whereas Necrolyte, you've got to go for slightly bigger ticket items, whether it's Arcane Boots or Mechanism. Whatever those items are, they're a little bit more expensive. You're looking at, well, the Arcane Boots aren't that expensive, but it's just these little incremental increases in cost that start to add up. Heavy into the push. LGD do snag the Beastmaster. I guess it's going to be a Shao 8 Beastmaster. I'm excited. I think it is. Maybe it's a Yao Beastmaster. Maybe this is their offlane. Would it really be a Shao 8 Templar Assassin? I don't think I've ever seen him play the hero. It doesn't quite feel like a Shao 8 hero, but I'm sure he's certainly capable at it. Generally, what we've seen out of his solo mid is heroes like Night Stalker, Beastmaster, Bat Rider, like these really good tempo-controlling mid-game gankers. TA, a strong ganker, but also more of sort of a carry. Generally, when we see her played, whether it's Super or Mushi, most of the Asian players, they angle towards the late game with TA. They'll go for the ganks early on, but they're not going to make their game plan all about it. So that being said, they go, wow, interesting. LGD, they do get some good heroes to counter the push. I like the way they complete their draft. They go for the Beastmaster, they go for the Leshrac. We're almost certainly going to see the Lightning build. The Edict Split Earth build would not work this game. They need anti-push. Wild Axes will help, Lightning will help, but then where's that next level of damage? Do they have enough to deal with what's coming their way? Because now we've got X Freedom playing the Tinker, which first of all is something new, at least for me, because he was playing support for Zenith. You had HY, you had Ice, 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 even XY. You had these other players who were getting more of the farm priority. So we're going to see Freedom on, well, a slightly different hero for him. So I'm excited about this. I'm excited to see what he does, which is this a Suicide Lane Tinker? Boots first and a Clarity. Or maybe he's just looking to do some cheeky Ancient shenanigans. Well, we'll talk more about the players, but let's introduce the teams properly first. We have Net playing that support Vengeful Spirit. Observers already picked up. Boy, was he impressive on the Nyx Assassin last game. As mentioned, we have X Freedom playing the Tinker. We have the Luna being handled by... Oh boy, am I having a brain fart? Am I having a senior moment? I think I am. We'll come back to the Luna. Ohio playing the Jakiro. Wait, let me try that again. Ohio playing the Jakiro. So we just got done seeing him play a hard carry Shadow Fiend. Now he's on a solo mid Jakiro because he's rushing a bottle.
30 seconds.
Oi, oi, oi. This is very curious. Solo mid Jakiro. I have seen this once before. It was before the changes to Ice Path, and it ended absolutely horribly. Oh man, I'm gonna have to look it up. I cannot believe I'm actually forgetting this. It's just one of those days. Sharky, there you go. It's Sharky playing the Luna. Man, that's embarrassing. All right, over on the side of LGD, Fire LD 2012. Sylar on the Necrolyte will be the hard carry for this squad. Probably the early reign of Basilius. I expect LGD to go for some pushing of their own rather than try and fight MUFC head on. Just basically push the other side of the map. SC or DD going to be playing that Leshrac, is warding off the Ancients, expecting the Beastmaster to be farming those, or the Tinker. Or not the Beastmaster, the Tinker for that matter. So they're just going to ward it off, disable that Ancient stacky. We'll see what the plan B is. DDC on the Nyx Assassin, Smoke of Deceit already picked up. Solo mid, it will be a Shao 8, Director 8, wants to get a little more control over this game, wants to have a hero. And although TA isn't really what we've seen, it's not quite the kind of blend of, as far as hero goes, that we've seen out of him. I like this a lot better than Sven because it really plays to his strengths, which is a mid-game tempo controlling hero. Shao 8 is so good at being aggressive and decisive. I just felt the Sven last game, it's not really quite his cup of tea. Sure, he played all right. The pick was decent, but I didn't think it was the perfect fit, so I like the TA for him. And last but not least, we have Yao as the offlane Beastmaster. Has the early stout shield with that 4 base armor. Very difficult to rest him in lane. At the same time, though, what can Yao do? This is an awesome ward. Wow. I did not realize the spawn box was quite that big. Well, that's a great place to put this ward because it's going to be very difficult to de-ward. You can see offlane Beastmaster, to some extent, he's like a bounty hunter. He's like a Magnus. Not quite. He doesn't have the escape mechanism of a Windwalk or Skewer, but in the sense that he's very tanky. Even though you might be ranged, he can just walk up to you and start trading hits. Although maybe not here. There will be a magic missile. There should be a net. Yao's going to be our first blood unless he pulls a miracle out of the hat. He does not. Easy peasy. And not a good start. When the Ancients are warded, what's your plan B as Beastmaster? I guess you go for the mid pulls. I don't really see any other options. In fact, looks like there was some deforesting, so maybe he was thinking about it, but wanted to see what he could get out of that lane. But while making his decision, he pays heavily. Our middle lane matchup, Xiao 8 already 10-1, and this is not a good lane for MUFC. I'm Twin-Headed Dragon solo mid. I can kind of understand the thinking. If he gets early levels, he's a great pusher. Whether you max Liquid Fire, really whatever you max, he's going to be very potent as a pusher. But he doesn't lane well against TA. I mean, he's got some damage over time. He's not horrendous, but he's not going to shut her down by any means. And you can see that already. 11-1 on the TA. 8-4 on Jakiro. He's doing fine. He's getting his farm, but he's not keeping her out of lane. It's not like running a Bat Rider there or running a dual lane. And he also isn't going to have as much of a mid-game impact necessarily. He can, but a TA, if she has a good start, it's pretty much guaranteed she's going to be a nuisance. Jakiro can be a nuisance in the mid-game, but we'll see. So that lane looks to be pretty good for LGD. Bottom lane, there's nobody here. There's a Tinker who... Well, what has he actually been farming so far? I guess he's been doing some pulls with the early boots. We'll try to keep an eye on him as he heads back out to the lane. Has already managed to get quite a few levels, so doing pretty well in that respect. Free farm lane for the Necrolite. MUFC, they get that early kill. They do have the mid-game push. Crucially, lane is not just ganking, though. He's continued to farm. Sure, you have some heroes in LGD that you want to shut down in the mid-game, but I think MUFC are fine if this goes later. They just have such a difficult team to fight into, and TA is really not going to be strong against a Tinker who's maxing March first. You don't want to walk into March of the Machines. You don't want to walk into a team full of additional bonus damage from Lunar Blessing. It's just a really strong death ball, and TA, great as a 1v1 lane dominator, not going to be very good against 5-man Dodo. That's generally, well, we saw it from LGD International earlier today. You can pick TA. In fact, to some extent, I feel they almost just want to give heroes like that or the Bounty Hunter away. Heroes that are great in a ganking style game, but aren't going to do anything in a 5v5, or, well, at least if you play it properly, aren't going to. Of course, Bounty Hunter is great if the enemy team starts getting picked off. DDC looking to jack this for in from Ohio. He will do so, and that is a huge pain in the ass. This clunky-ass dragon juking hither and thither. Perhaps juking a juke too far, it looks like, for Ohio. We should have another Impale momentarily. This is going to be most likely a kill. There's your Impale. In comes Xiao 8. He wants this kill, the Split Earth, and the auto attack. Leshrac, in fact, as mentioned, is going to go for the Lightning build. Will help them to anti-push quite effectively. Or at least put a dent in the armor anyway. So now they rotate Tinker mid. Now he goes back to the jungle.
Dire's bottom tower
Haven't seen too many stacks from him. I assume he's been doing some pulling and maybe some stacking, as he's already level 4. So whatever he's doing, it's actually quite efficient. To be level 4 this early on is very impressive. I'm guessing maybe the Chen has been helping him with it. Ohio is going to get impaled middle lane again. This clunky solo mid twin-headed dragon, so vulnerable to ganks. So much easier to kill than here like TA. He may be strong as an initiator, as a support, but he doesn't have the survivability of other solos. He's not as tanky as a Beastmaster, not as survivable as a Bat Rider. He's got his weaknesses, and LGD are punishing them. Still, I think MUFC they're not happy about this, but they can live with it. They can still deal with it. They do have a level 5 Tinker. He's already got 3 points in March. Come mid-game, they're going to have some really strong split push. this is one of those games where I really want to go back to first-person perspective, and the beauty of having actual replays as opposed to just, you know, casting a game where you have to cover all the action, just see exactly what the Tinker has been doing. I'm fascinated by, well, just how quickly he's jungling. He's not farming Ancients. He's obviously been stacking somewhere or getting some help from the Chen in doing so, but to already be level 5, very impressive stuff. And honestly, it's kind of an LGD style we're seeing from MUFC. This is what LGD did quite a bit of in G1 League, was basically just abandon the suicide lane at the first sign of trouble, which in this case for Tinker is just from the very beginning of the game. Maybe throw a hero back there later, but if there's ever any threat, you just go farm the jungle. You stay near your safe lane, near the rest of your team. Notice the timing. It's just after the 6-minute mark. I'm guessing he figures that any sort of Ancient Ward has expired. Now he can start to stack. Well, as I say that, he's going to walk directly away from the stacking opportunity, so maybe not. Xiao 8 sitting on 600 gold. What does he have aside from that? He's got to have a Blink Dagger soon. Is there something in the base? Oh, Phase Boots. Phase Boots just complete right after I clicked on. Okay, I was going to say, Xiao 8 and his... I don't think that one was in the script either. So Luna has the hand of Midas. MUFC really angling for the late game. This is... I mean, I kind of agree with this to some extent. I think they can take this late. Well, not ultra late, but, you know, get the Luna a lot of levels early, which is what the Midas is really going to help with. I don't think you want to take this, like, the 50-minute mark against a Necrolite, a TA, and a Beastmaster. And just some decent supports on the Nyx Assassin Leshrac, but I think you can take this to like the 25-30 minute mark, and that's where you really start to get aggressive with your pushes. You have your Boots of Travel up on Tinker, you've got the level 4 March, maybe a level 2 Rearm, and you're just constantly layering the March machines over the towers. Luna has the maxed out Aura, she's got the maxed out Bouncing Glaives. And actually Luna's creep score, frankly, not very good, so this will help her to keep the pace with the Necrolite, who's a good 20 CS ahead of her. Luna is definitely a better flash farmer eventually compared to a Necrolite. Necrolite, he only farms so fast, his nuke does a static amount of damage. Oh, Xiao 8 thinking about diving onto this Tinker. This is a long way to go. He will do a decent amount of damage, but there's always blind to worry about. There's always... Well, if you'd level it, there's always the laser. No points in laser yet.
Is under attack. Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Bottom lane, the push continues. LGD, as mentioned, the early Reign of Basilius will be the choice for the Necrolite. Really important if you're going to run a defensive tri-lane and the enemy team's pushing your safe lane, or your suicide lane, you want to make sure you push your safe lane to get something in return. Otherwise, Luna's just going to get a free tower. The team's going to get a lot of extra gold. So they traded tier 1 so far. The mid-tier 1's still up. Now it's that point in the game where everybody tries to get their next items, which in this case is going to be crucially a Blink Dagger on TA. MUFC with a huge two-man smoke, and I say two-man, but there's a lot of creeps. They're going to go into Tinker, but Tinker's still alive. Now the March gets dropped. Here comes the Eclipse doing a lot of damage. Look at Sylar somehow surviving so far. Where is that creep micro? There's no net available. I think the stop may have already been used. Everything was used. That was a 3-man Impale. That was an insane Nyx Assassin play. Hand of God was too late because the Impale hit lane. Huge play. Still Sylar will fall. Xiao 8 joins the fight. He's fighting in the Macro Power. He's fighting in the Ice Pet. They're still fighting in it. Look at that Chen micro. The Centaur stomp the net. Both of them used beautifully. What a turn of events. All of a sudden, MUFC turn what looked like a bit of a disaster into a decent engagement. Crucially, they kill off the Necrolite. They do lose the Luna for doing so, though. And now Yao hits level 6. He had an opportunity to get some farm. He's going for Call of the Wild, which fits their lineup. You know, we've seen when LGD's run Beastmaster in the past, it's more of a pushing style lineup. So he maxes in her Beast, so he gets some points in it early on. In this particular game, they're more of a ganky lineup. They're more of a tower diving lineup. That's where your Hawk, that's where your board really come into play. Nyx Assassin overextends, will be punished, not able to get up that Spike Carapace. The mech, the early mech from Ling, this is the power of running that Chen as a bit more of a farmer. Helping, but is it enough? Sylar finds one kill, wants to get a few more. The creeps running in and then out again. Now a pause, a great time to Goldgraph, which is dead even so far. As far as experience goes, a slight lead for MUFC. On paper, it looks like the Necrolite is just way ahead, but because Luna has a Hand of Midas, she'll catch up eventually. keep in mind, though, that when you see this net worth, it's very deceptive because Luna is a hero that's very squishy. That's why you see Zhou not traditionally, but has in the past popularized this build of going for Tranquil Boots, Drum of Endurance, Rune of Aquila, because she needs lots of stats. It really synergizes well with her Lunar Blessing. It also mitigates one of her biggest weaknesses, which is bad strength gain, low attack range, which means you've got to be very close to the enemy team to fight. So sure, she's got this 1900 gold of net worth in the head of Midas, and eventually it'll pay. But right now, Sylar's almost got a mech. In fact, he does have a mech to counter that of the Chens, and that's going to help them to push into the March of Machines. They really need a pipe as the game goes longer. I think your Beastmaster builds it, ideally, but he's not farming well, so maybe we will see Sylar go for it. I'm a little curious how urgent LGD feels their situation is. I think it's actually pretty dangerous. Because it's a support Beastmaster, I'm not sure who's just going to initiate fights for them. Like, when we've seen LGD play the Beastmaster in the past, it's always been a solo mid Beastmaster, right? It's been, well, always. The one time we've seen them play it recently, anyway, it was Xiao 8 running solo mid. Just had the early Aghanims, which is basically, just gives you such a good initiation range. He had tons of levels. He had his early upgraded boots. He was just a lot more mobile around the map. Much fewer trips to Fountain. So he could really control the game. TA, great damage dealer. But she's not going to be able to just jump in and grab an enemy hero and pick them off like a Beastmaster, like a Bat Rider can. So because this Beastmaster is a support hero, they need someone like that to just instantly pick off a hero for MUFC. Lock someone down like the Chen, the Luna. They can do it now, but as the game goes a little bit later, it gets a lot harder. So I think LGD, they're in a fine position now, but they just have to keep the pressure up. They've got to knock down these outer towers with the quick mech coming on Sylar. You know, finding the pickups on the Chen. You don't want this to turn into a farm war because Tinker and Luna are just going to out-farm you. Nobody on LGD is a great flash farmer. They don't have anyone who can farm Ancients really quickly. Beastmaster's decent. He's not going to farm them as fast as a Tinker. Later on as a Luna. They're just not going to make as much out of their farming time. So they need to keep the pressure up. And because of that, I expect to see LGD get the early mech on Sylar and then just start diving these towers. Maybe not going for the kills, but driving the enemy heroes back, making sure Tinker isn't dropping March the Machines. Because eventually, MUFC will just get too difficult to fight into in the mid-game. And because they're on the dire side, that means they'll have easy access to Roshan. And sooner or later, Tinker's countering your push in one lane, Luna's getting towers in the other. It's just, you don't want to start trading towers or getting into a split push war with a Luna and a Tinker. So TA sitting on 1600 gold now. She's very close to the blink. It's actually a good time to check general items. I don't think there's anything we haven't talked about yet. Just a couple pairs of arcane boots, power treads, and Sylar. This is sort of, well, I guess you could almost call it your old school Necrolite build. I've seen some Chinese players occasionally go for arcane boots, but generally they get the power treads because you just need every little bit of survivability, and especially with the changes to Sadist, you don't need them. Well, they used to be something that players would go for, but with the changes to Sadist in the past couple patches, you really don't need arcane boots at all. Your supports can get them if you do. They've already got one up on the Nixus S. You'll see Leshrac go for one later. So you have the extra HP. More importantly, though, you get all the mana regen you need from Sadist, especially with the new ultimate. If you're able to get secure hero kill with it, you'll just get a ton of additional regen. So I think it's 600. 60 mana regen. Or 100 mana regen per second for 6 seconds. So you have 600 mana over 6 seconds for Necrolite, which means, yeah, basically you get your full mana pull back if you find a kill with Reaper's Scythe. Not really sure what's going on, but Xiao 8 has disconnected from the game. Hopefully he'll be back soon. In the meantime, this is a good time to show our brackets again, just to talk a little bit about the brackets. So right now we're looking at game number 2 between MUFC and LGD, the China division. Whoever wins this best out of 3, again, MUFC leading 1-0. We're in game number 2. They go on to face LGD International. That game will happen today, after the conclusion of this series. It's scheduled to kick off. Oh man, doing some time zone conversion. This is going to be fun at this hour. Let me actually just see if I can bring up the stream title since I know I put it in there. But I think it's scheduled to start. Technically, it's scheduled to start at 8:30 EST. Or that was sort of the updated time. But when I say 8:30 EST, that's in about an hour. But at the rate the series is going, if LGD take this game, which is possible they could, they're playing reasonably well. I think they have a shot at it anyway. Then it would go to Game 3, and then we might be looking at more of a delay. But whenever this series finishes, then LGD International plays the winner of it. So that's what we're looking at as far as our brackets go. As I say that, everybody's reconnected. And by everybody, I mean Xiaowei. He is everybody to me. If this was StarCraft, I'd have a cheerful for him. The reconnect happens, Luna resumes the game, and now it's back to farming. Again, that's MUFC's game plan. They want to take this to the mid game, they want to take this to the late game, and try and win by out-farming LGD. They've got the lineup to do it. But LGD have a decent kind of siege-breaking lineup. They've got a good lineup to just crush through your initial defenses. Right now, as the game goes longer, it gets a lot trickier. Once Luna has a BKB, once she's got that next level of items. And again, without the pipe, it's a little bit tough, but they're going to try to go onto this. Look at the March damage, though. Haste from Yao. They're going to look to bring down this pesky little tanker, but look how much damage they're all taking. Nice swap away from Net. Roar onto Net. They might kill him off. They might find this kill. Ice Path is narrowly going to miss now. Xiaowei dropping low. Xiaowei. Oh, the courier dies in the middle of it. It was the Radiance courier. That's a big loss. Hasted Yao still running away. 2 heroes die. Leshrac was picked off as well right around here. And this is, I mean, this is what I've been talking about all game, is trying to push into a Tinker without having to pipe and without having a hero that can just instantly jump in and grab him or grab someone and pull them back to a better position. Sure, you've got a haste around Beastmaster. You can run into the trees, you can find him, but I look to pick him off, but while you're chasing him, your entire team's taking March damage. That's the weakness, that's the real difficulty when you play against the Tinker. And the beauty of it for MUFC is they didn't even give him a lane to farm. He was farming the jungle. However Freedom did it, he's not far off his boots of travel. We're only 12 minutes in. I know Luminous has done his cheeky choke point jungling guide. You can like eat some trees here and farm these ancients, just constantly stacking and farming them and get boots of travel like the 8-9 minute mark. But that's in pub games where your opponents are oblivious. Don't worry, the ancients don't contest at all. But we saw this done in a much kind of more reliable way. So this is a game that I will definitely be taking a look at, trying to sort of hone my Tinker play on. The BKB I mentioned being very important for Luna. Sure, they can still roar her. They got some physical damage, but this is about ensuring that even if she dies, that the enemy team takes a while to kill her, that they blow spells on her, so that while they're doing that, Tinker is just spamming March left, right, and center, doing tons of damage, even the rockets. And LGD are forced back. You might say, but LD, they have TA, they've got Inner Beast, they've got a Necrolite. I heard Necrolite can be one of the hardest carries in the game. He can be, especially as far as intelligence heroes goes. Or certainly a mid-game timing-based carry, but in this game, I feel MUFC are in a pretty strong position right now. Gold is severely starting to dip their way on the back of those few kills, and more importantly, just the farm efficiency for them. Blink Dagger is picked up on TA. This might be the item that LGD need to start cracking that defense on the side of the Malaysians. Well, except for Freedom, of course. He's from Singapore. Tinker can just constantly push all the side. The one thing I would like to see more from MUFC is maybe have one of your supports doing some farming. Obviously, you have to protect this Tinker. When he's sitting here, just spamming March, that's where TA just blinks in, or a hero like Nyx Assassin shows up mid. But that's why we have a Sentry Ward here, just to ensure the Nyx Assassin can't get the jump. So the only hero who can just jump in and start the fight and try and pick off Tinker is going to be the Nyx Assassin, maybe the Beastmaster with a smoke, but by having the supports there, by having the Sentry Ward there, they're ensuring that not only will the Tinker shut down the enemy push, but that they can protect him so he can start to apply some pressure. And this is the death ball. This is what we talked about all through the analysis stage of this game, is how do you fight into this? The answer is, well, the answer is so far, LGD hasn't found an answer. I mean, let's be honest, they're just, that's a lot of robots. We are coming to kill your base. LGD, we hate you. That's what MUFC is saying to themselves. Oy, oy, oy. Here we go, the push again. The BKB is coming real soon. Already level 11 on the Luna. This is the other big thing. It's all about just getting all the abilities leveled up because Luna is a very level-dependent carry. Mainly for the Lunar Blessing max. The glaive bounces are nice, not as important. But the push commences. Lightning Beam spam, but the Ice Path is there. Now the swap back in, into the March, into the Death Ball. In comes Beastmaster with the big backstep. They want to bring down Luna quickly. They will do so. The Hand of God was late. The mech even later, I feel. But is it enough? Somehow this twin-headed Jakiro is just doing an insane buttload of damage. Luna bought back from the looks of things. She's already rejoined the fight because they still have the tier 1, because they have the Tinker. They still have that tier 1 Shao 8 lurking on the high ground. Boy, would they love to kill this Luna again right after she just bought back. She's out of position. Chen can't send her home. What a time to jump in from Shao 8. Oh, controlling this game beautifully. He certainly is right now. The creeps give chase. Shao 8 is going to hoof it out of there. That was a big, big pick-off. This was a Luna up to 13, I think 1,800 gold. Buys back, dies again. Does find 1 kill off of it, I believe. But definitely not enough. Now the creep's being killed. And just questionable positioning. For some reason, I think they wanted to push the tier 1 bottom. Because they started to rotate south. And, well, Luna didn't move with them. Got a little bit greedy and paid for it. So just not being quite on the same page. The sad thing for LGD is even when they find a couple kills, they still can't push. I mean, they have the casual cloak, and that's a great item to get. Honestly, when you're up against Tinker, everybody should be getting either a casual cloak, well, or a casual cloak, or a pipe, pretty much. Whoever's building the pipe doesn't need one, but... I was gonna say BKB, but of course March goes through BKB, goes through Magic Community. Don't ask me why. It's just one of those strange, probably engine-based quirks from Dota 1, which has carried over to Dota 2, and really the only way to deal with it is gonna be a pipe. Or something like lifesteal and a ton of physical damage, but LGD don't really have the hero to build that. I have no idea what the chat is laughing at me about. What did I say? Oh boy, I don't even know what I said. Yeah, I'm a little tired, guys. I did not sleep a whole lot. I hope you're still enjoying the games. This is, of course, only game number 2. The good news, though, is I will have a fresh, well-rested Luminous joining me for the final series for today. If this goes long enough, he might even be up in time to cast Game 3 of this one, if it goes 3 games. But I will have a co-caster who's a little bit more coherent than me. To hopefully provide some fresh insights and entertainment for y'all. And another David. I mean, what's better than that? Ice Path to kill off the Hawk. That is some serious hate. Still the tier 1 stands mid. Still the tier 1 stands top. Just so damn annoying to play against this team. Here comes the smoke. Kind of the wraparound, but look at the positioning. Oh, Tinker's TP'd away. This might be the moment to strike. There is no March right now. Will LGD choose the perfect moment to go in? They want to do so. Trap giving a little bit of vision. Tinker's back. Has rejoined the fray. Now the March starts to get spammed. Now that slight window of opportunity, as quickly as it opened, it disintegrates. It's slammed shut. In spite of that, well, MUFC still... I mean, the one thing they're not doing is they're not farming as much as they would be. Tinker is. He's up to 700 gold, but Luna... well, say that. I guess she is. We've seen her mid a lot. I mean, she's only at 97 CS with the Midas. Normally, you'd see a Luna, a free farm Luna, especially going for the early points in Glaze instead of maxing the R like we saw from Pycat. Normally, you'd see her around like 120, 130 CS. Maybe not 130, like 110 to 120 at this point in the game with just, you know, unchecked free farm, team stacking jungle camps for you, all that sort of stuff. Sure, some of those would be neutrals, but she's a little bit behind, although with the Midas, it sort of evened things out. The BKB is coming soon. I'm a little surprised that MUFC is trying to be so aggressive. I feel like they'd be more comfortable just kind of turtling, but they are worried about some aggression of LGDs. So they're going to kind of play it safe, stick together. While this happens, LGD, they'll get the tier 1 top. This is crucial. It now opens up, really, this whole region of the map. A little bit less safe, so that tier 1 falling, the tier 1 mid still remaining. There is a trap here spotting everything out. Net is going to initiate with a swap. There is a haste room, but the net is there. The net, and then the magic missile. They bring down Shell 8. crucial time where one of the scariest heroes on the map is dead, and thus ain't so scary. Sylar continues to farm. He's got a Hood of Defiance. He's actually got more CS than this Luna. You can see that buyback costing her on multiple accounts. Still, when it comes to net worth, does she have something on the courier? Ah, yes. She's not actually as far behind as it looks, guys. I think. Not sure if I'm doing my math right. Maybe she is. We'll find out in a few moments. I'm actually normally good at mental math, but not when I'm this sleep deprived. Well, here we go, top lane. Smoke up for Yao, smoke up for DD. And MUFC showing a decent amount of aggression. The 4 staff is up on Ohio. That's a great item to pick against, mainly against the TA. He's so good at kiting her. Now he's had the Suda Xiao 8 blinks in. Now the second layer of missiles being spammed. They want to go on this. Impale on all 3 creeps. TP is forced out. Now they swap in. The Nixus says this is not normally the hero you want to initiate upon when Luna comes in with the BKB and the Eclipse. Oh boy, that was a lot of AoE. That is just everyone being forced the hell back. Yao dropping low. Yao will fall. And everybody wants to come in, but they're all being driven back. DD, why is he not being focused? Blinking forward is freedom. What a play from him. So damn aggressive. And you see just how few items MUFC need because of their lineup, because of their hero composition, to be aggressive. LGD, the only way they can fight into this MUFC lineup is if they pick the Tinker before he starts layering March. Because once the March comes down, sure, you can try and jump Luna. You're dying to the March. Once the pipe comes up, it's a different story. But until then, it gives them just so much freedom. Get it? Because it's freedom playing that hero. Oh, man. 4 step forward. Xiao 8 trying to find a pick, but now that Jakiro feels a little bit safer to defend this middle lane. And no item progression from Xiao 8. This is going to be their main physical damage dealer, and that's something they need against a Luna with a BKB. They can't just rely on the Necrolite. He can keep the team alive, but you got to kill that Luna before she kills your whole team. And Xiao 8, you know, again, this is just his style. He's much more of an aggressive mid-game, you know, I think tempo controller is really the right word. He's not a player like Mushi who prioritizes farm. It's just not his style. It's not how the team normally fits him in. I mean, we saw him get really farmed in that series, especially that Beastmaster game where he's playing against IG. He just got, I think it was IG, maybe it was DK. But whoever he's playing against, he just got insanely farmed in that series. But he did it by applying pressure, pushing towers, and ganking. He didn't sit back and stack Ancients. He didn't just farm as quickly as possible. He wasn't split pushing. Although he did push, it was usually with his team. It's just not really... It doesn't seem like the way Xiao 8 wants to play this hero is what's going to work this game. At the same time, I'm not sure if a free farm TA is really... If you go for just a Mushi-style build, will that really work against the Luna? If the game goes late enough, Luna should be out carrying that TA quite handily. Just not only is she going to do about similar damage 1v1 with enough items, but more importantly, she's going to kill the whole... She's going to make her team so strong that everyone dies. And speaking of making her team strong, Vengeance R is getting leveled up. Now we see the R stack start to come out. Perseverance. Are we going to see a refresher? A Lincoln Sphere is the other option. I guess probably a Lincoln Sphere. I guess there's a Beastmaster Roar, there's a Necrolite ult, so most likely a Lincoln Sphere. Refresher wouldn't be entirely out of the question, but it doesn't really cater to their strengths. I find this very odd. Frankly, I'm not a big fan of this item choice. I feel like a Mad Style just does a lot more for you. Your team, you know, you've already got the Rs. Why not just have illusions that hit a little bit harder? You can siege the enemy base very effectively that way. That's what MUFC... I mean, they've already got the trebuchet here in the form of freedom, you know, with the constant rocket spam. Now with the max lasers, the level 2, or the max heat-seeking missiles, the level 2 lasers. But hey, they're getting towers without any sort of real pushing items on the Luna. Plus 91 damage. That's the R stack for you. Now the March starts to be spammed out a little bit. They're going to try to play a game of chicken here. LGD are going to have to bite on this. You do not want to be base trading with a Luna, with a Tinker, layering March all over your outer towers. In fact, Luna wants to charge in. Here comes an army of skeletons. Maybe a bit of an overextension. It's like she just wants to pop the Aegis right now. It's got a good 3-4 minutes to go. Again, I see more and more people tuning in. Guys, this is game number 1. This is your winner bracket round 1 match, but here comes the huge team fight. All the action breaking out. Ohio is just so damn tanky. The Luna, she's got her Aegis. She's not dead yet. What an Ice Pet, a 3-hero Ice Pet and a Macro Pirate, and Luna just goes to town. Sure, she dies, but everybody else is in a lot of trouble. Jakiro is going to try and use defensive urn. It doesn't matter. It's not enough. Remember, she's still got the BKB. The Eclipse is not here, though. That was already used in the midst of that team fight. Well, Ohio showing that this Jakiro can work as a solo mid, at least to a certain extent. BKB now being dropped. Ice Path, oh, that one misses. If that hits, that's a dead Beastmaster. Instead, I think they are going to be forced back. That was your 9-second charge. And in fact, the chase might go the other way. MUFC, perhaps they've overstayed their welcome. Lane's got to send someone home. Who will it be? They're trying to Ice Path Ohio and then have Luna run away. Well, Lane gets sent back, but I don't think it's going to work quite like that. Tinker blinking away, now dropping the march, but this might be trouble for him as well. Could be big, big trouble. In comes the... oh, he wants the TP out. Sylar, no mana to stop that. Really? Oh, there's your Impale. Okay, so in the end, Luna also gets picked off. MUFC throw away the Aegis, and what do they get? They get nothing. They really get nothing out of that. They get a couple of kills. I suppose. They did force the TA buyback, but she'll take that. I mean, to get that double kill, especially on the Luna, that's pretty big. Does Shawade have anything on the Courier? Ugh. TA just can't win a farm war. This is, you know, unless you're Mushia, then somehow you do, but... I mean, especially when Luna rushes a Midas and you're up against Tinker. You've got to kill the opponent so that you can farm while they're dead. You don't want to just be trading farm with them, and... despite him getting those 2 kills, just he's so far behind everybody else. I mean, to be 30 CS behind the Luna, it's still great play by Shawade to only be that far behind, but it's still quite a distance. Plus, there's the Midas bonus goal to worry about. Luna, despite the death, is going to have her Linked Sphere soon. I still find this very perplexing. I mean, sure there's a Roar, sure there's an Necrolite ult. But TA's not jumping on top of you when there's March next to you anyway, and you're not dying to magical damage with the BKB. Well, we'll see. This is kind of... it's almost what the Pinoys love to go for. On any of their carries, you'll often see Pinoy Queen of Pain players going for an early BKB, getting a Linked Sphere, and then they go for all their damage items. They'll go for things like the Ethereal Blade, like the Aghanim Scepter, even a Dagon 5. They love their shotgun Queen of Pain. So I mean, it's just a very, very defensive Luna build. You know, it makes her really hard to kill. And obviously, just being alive is fantastic, because you get the aura for the whole team. So, to a certain extent, it makes sense. I just feel like you're going to live anyway, even with a Manta, for plenty long. But hey, that's just me. Ohio has really farmed well, though. Got a lot of pressure early. 7-2 and 6. It's really been about the team fight involvement for him. He hasn't... I mean, his creep score, 92. It's fine. It's not bad, but he's having his impact with big ice paths and team fights. Just being involved. I mean, we saw it here earlier. That 3-hero ice patch just ruined LGD. Absolutely ruined them. And it was basically... it felt like a mini RP, honestly, because of how close the heroes were already together. Sure, he didn't pull them in, but it worked out to basically be the same thing. They want to go on Luna, but she's got a BKB, and she's about to complete... oh, this would be a nice time to kill her off. DDC has got the scent. LGD feeling a little sense of urgency here. And that's still only level 11. This is another reason why MUFC just continue to get stronger as the game goes later, because they've got the Vengeful Spirit, who, by the way, is not that squishy. She's got the Urn, got the Power Treads. More importantly, she's got the Pipe, the Mech, and the Hand of God, all of them backing her up, so chances of her dying are actually... she can swap someone in, and then start running back towards the Chen. He can Mech, he can Hand of God, she can be piped. And suddenly, Net's... it's not quite a Blink Skewer. You know, you're still putting yourself in harm's way, but you're putting a very, very tanky Vengeful Spirit in harm's way. That's one of the interesting things we've seen from LGD, or from MUFC so far. I expect we'll continue to see it as the game goes along. She feels a lot better about initiating than Yao. Sure, Yao's got a little bit more HP. Actually the same armor, not even more. And it's just, it doesn't matter. He doesn't have the kind of backup that the Chen, that the Pipe provide, and even the Force Staff on the Jakiro. Speaking of that, Jakiro, he's going to look for a big ice path here. Is she going to find it? No, not just yet. Meanwhile, on the high ground, the siege begins from Freedom. What a pain in the ass he has been. Chen lurking on the high ground as well. Nice positioning from lane. The creeps will die. Xiaowei pushing that top lane. Looks like he's going for, I assume, a BKB. It could be a Desolator. BKB feels a bit mandatory. Magic Missile, just all the burst magical damage from Eclipse, things like that. They are going to go on to Tinker. Tinker, Hand of God, swap to safety. Now the Eclipse turning this fight around. What an incredible amount of defensive firepower MUFC has, and what an incredible time to pause. Very lag. Sorry. Well, I certainly have low frames in this particular fight. I'll let my CPU cool down for a moment. So, Xiao-Weight's going to die here. Let's see, how about, do we still have Eclipse going off? I think it just ended. Actually, I don't know if it shows it as a buff. Well, we're about to find out. This could be a lot of heroes dying for LGD in short order. Wonderful. Force staffing forward. They've got the ice path. He will completely whiff it. Oh, that was big. If he hit any, whoever he hit there is pretty much going to die. Still, in spite of that, MUFC poised to maybe take this game number 2, and with that, that would be the series for them. They take down the tier 2. Now they continue to push. Remember, they've got the better siege lineup. They've got heroes that can just start throwing auto attacks in. They can lob the Chen creeps towards the towers. They can split push with Tinker. Now the tower drops. That Lincoln Sphere already complete. Another 1,200 gold. I expect it'll be a Manta Stone next. Even so, they can Assault Cuirass wouldn't be bad just for the minus armor on towers. Either way, the death ball continues to grow for MUFC. And LGD continues to struggle to find the openings. There just aren't many to work with. And it all comes down to just the overall gameplay from MUFC. This is not a game that's being won by any individual. Last game was really, for me, all about Ohio's individual solo play as Shadow Fiend. And along with that, the great Nyx Assassin play we saw out of net. But in this game, it's just the team. Sure, everyone's playing well individually. It's just the overall strategy. Really intelligent draft. Even the laning decisions were great, not bothering with the ancient stacking from Tinker, not giving LGD something to maybe steal or wasting money on sentries, just stacking and farming your own creep camps, pulling them, stacking them. And now we have a Tinker who's getting pretty close to a Scythe of Ice. It's a great... They have a lineup that was really quite strong at every stage of the game. I would say they would have been pretty vulnerable to an aggressive tri-lane. They didn't have the strongest solo mid. We saw a few kills given up there, but LGD, the way they drafted, just didn't allow them to punish it. You know, Beastmaster offlane, that was guaranteed. What are you going to do, run a Necrolate tri-lane? They didn't have that option, so MUFC just, the draft, really intelligent. The decision-making has been great. We've seen a few mistakes, like the Luna Eclipse being cast right before the Aegis expired in the last fight, but I mean, to me, that's kind of small potatoes. I'm just really impressed by MUFC's overall game planning so far. Still, LGD getting some big items up. Xiao-8 with the BKB. And now the question becomes, how long do MUFC feel they need to wait? Obviously, they're going to wait for the second Rocher, which just respawned. I'm not sure how many more items they need. They've got the pipe, they've got the mech, they've got the BKB on the Luna. Obviously, you want the Scythe of Vice on the Tinker. And maybe one item on the Luna. Something like that Assault Cuirass, that Manta style, whatever the choice is. I think you're good to go after that. There comes the big... this could be huge for LGD. They gotta find a good team fight like this. They don't just want this to be a head-on fight. They want something clever. They want something creative. And they're gonna start with, well, letting Luna get her BKB off. That's not what they wanted, but the pipe is keeping everyone alive. It doesn't seem to matter, or does it? The swap inward. Oh, Xiao-Wei thrown into the middle of the enemy team. Luna's dropping low. Hand of God, not quite enough. Burst down by the Necrolate. LGD with amazing team fight coordination here, but even better play from this hero, Jakiro. Ohio showing off that solo mid Jakiro. It's a team wipe. It's a triple kill from Ling, but it was Ohio that did all of the damage. Sensational Jakiro play from him. Absolutely sensational. Just incredible to watch, really. What a thing of beauty. And LGD, I guess they've got a lineup that tends to clump. You've got a TA, Beastmaster, Nyx Assassin. These three are essentially melee heroes. They don't have good range. They're likely to be grouped up, and, well, Toad-Headed Dragon is a specific anti-melee counter, and the Angry Wari. Something he talked about at G1 after their game 1 loss to LGD. So LGD having that anti-melee hero really turned against them in this game. But more importantly, it is a pretty big item advantage, pretty big gold advantage for MUFC right now. And a big team fight advantage. Luna did buy... did she buy back? No. Guess not. No, Hes the Aegis didn't even die in that fight. Oh no, she did. She did. They got the Aegis afterwards. Oh man, the sleep deprivation. It's a doozy, guys. It's an absolute doozy. Well, MUFC, this is of course game number 2. They're leading 1-0. If they take this Rax here, if they take this tier 3 and are go on to win this game, they move on to the grand or to the winners bracket finals, where the LGD International will be waiting for them. That would be a very interesting match. I think some people want to see that all LGD bloodbath, but we'll find out. See, the game, of course, is not over yet. It's just that it's looking good right now from MUFC. Sylar has a Shiva's guard up. We saw that in the last fight. Luna pops the BKB, chooses to use it with her first life, and look at all the heals. Just too many glaives. Too many glaives. Oh, that's too much. This is, I mean, this is, again, this is how I was describing this LGD lineup. It's the, or the MUFC lineup. It's the lineup that they just don't want to fight into. You don't want to run into any of these heroes. You don't want to run into Ice Path. You don't want to walk near those bouncing glaives. Then they're hitting the whole team. You don't want to walk into March the Machines. MUFC pull a 2-0 victory out of the hat. They qualified for G League. These guys they have something to prove. They didn't make it into WCG. They did not win the GEST Dota 2. They came second to Orange. They've always been, well, for the most part, when it's come to the really big events, it's always been Orange with the star players, with Mushi, with Yamate, with Ice, who time and again have taken the biggest events on that Malaysian stage and sort of been the most popular team from Malaysia. But MUFC right now, on the back of some great stand-in performances from X Freedom, as well as just really intelligent drafting, really great individual play from Ohio in game number 1. They move on to the winner bracket finals. As we wait for the final scoreboard, it will be MUFC advancing to a clean 2-0 sweep. They will be facing LGD International. That will be a best out of 3. That will be your winner bracket finals, and it is coming up on this stream right here real soon. I'll have the exact time for you guys as soon as we close this one out. But for now, to wrap this series up, LGD get knocked out in a clean 2-0 sweep. They drop down to the losers bracket, where tomorrow Orange Esports will be awaiting them. Perhaps the two sort of favorites, or at least the teams that have had the best overall recent results over the past month. They get knocked out. It's the young upstarts of sorts in MUFC and LGD International. Certainly veteran players, but as a team, relatively new. They move on, where they'll be facing each other today on this stream in the winner bracket finals. I'm LD, of course, of Beyond the Summit, of DotaCommentaries.com. If you enjoy my casting, be sure to follow me, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube.com/LDDota. More importantly, though, if you want to support Beyond the Summit, if you want to see us casting more of these events and bring extra production quality to it, be able to pay our co-casters and treat everybody who works with us as well as they deserve, be sure to subscribe to the stream. It really enables us to do more. Every little bit goes a long way. If you can't subscribe, at least turn off ad block. Every little bit helps. Thanks again for tuning in, guys. Stay tuned. Our next series is coming up. That will be our last one of the day. You're watching the GEST Dota 2 Challenge, brought to you by Beyond the Summit, made possible by Dota Talk, made possible by Gigabyte, of course. Huge thanks to them for supporting esports, for supporting Dota 2, and more specifically, Southeast Asian Chinese Dota 2. Thanks for tuning in, guys. For now, this is LD signing off, but we'll be coming back soon with another Best Out of 3.